Most men think attraction comes from clever lines, flattery, or endlessly talking about themselves. But in truth, real seduction has nothing to do with what you say and everything to do with what she feels when she is with you. Imagine having 10 questions so powerful they bypass her defenses, slip past her logic, and go straight into the part of her mind where desire, curiosity, and obsession are born. These are not compliments, they are not pickup lines, and they're not tricks you find on the internet. They are strategic psychological tools, rooted in Machiavellian thinking, that make her reveal the very parts of herself she usually hides. Because while the average man tries to impress her with stories, you'll be the one making her talk, making her open up, making her associate your presence with depth, danger, and mystery. When she leaves, she will not remember the exact words you said, but she will feel the echo of how you made her think and what you made her feel. That is where the real power lies. In this video, we will explore the 10 questions capable of shifting her perception of you forever. If you are ready to step away from predictable conversations and into the realm of emotional strategy, make sure you watch until the end, because what you are about to hear will not just change the way you talk to women, it will change the way they remember you. Question 1. The man she cannot forget. What kind of man is hard for you to forget, even if he was not good for you? This question is pure Machiavellian precision because it does not ask her for her ideal type. It forces her to revisit the memory of a man who stirred chaos inside her, a man who made her feel alive, conflicted, and dangerously drawn in despite the consequences. Almost every woman has that story, the one she tells herself she has moved past but still feels deep in her body when reminded. By calmly inviting her to recall it, without judgment or interruption, you become the one who dares to awaken her shadow side, the forbidden part of her nature most men are too afraid to touch. Machiavelli knew that power lies not in dominating the conversation, but in controlling the direction of thought. As she describes him, she unconsciously begins projecting those same emotional triggers onto you, associating your presence with the very intensity she craves. You're not trying to be that man. You're making her relive the feelings he provoked, but with you sitting in front of her. The key is composure. Listen without rushing. Affirm gently with phrases like, "That says a lot about you," and allow silences to work in your favor. This is not about collecting information. It is about embedding sensation. When done right, you are no longer just part of the conversation. You are part of the memory she cannot shake. What is the most dangerous thing someone has ever awakened in you? This question, rooted in Machiavellian insight, is a quiet spark that can ignite an uncontrollable fire in her mind. It is not an inquiry into gossip or mere curiosity, but a deliberate step into the territory where fear and attraction intertwine. By asking this, you are not prying into her past for entertainment. You are planting the seed that you might be capable of awakening something just as dangerous, something she cannot resist. The brilliance lies in the pause that follows her initial reaction, the hesitation that tells you she is treading on memories she rarely revisits. You meet that hesitation not with pressure, but with calm, steady presence and a subtle suggestion that sometimes danger can be beautiful. This is the art of influence, guiding her into her own shadows while making her feel safe enough to explore them. Few men have the composure to hold this kind of silence, and fewer still can inspire her to reveal what she guards most. But when she does, she begins to associate that rare vulnerability with you. That is the invisible hook Machiavelli understood so well. Power not in what you say, but in the emotions you awaken without force. And when those emotions are tied to her most dangerous desires, you cease to be just a man in conversation. You become the one she cannot forget. What signals does your body give when someone starts to attract you, but you do not want it to show? This question slips past the walls of logic and enters the realm of instinct, exactly where Machiavelli would have known influence thrives. You are not asking if she is attracted to you. You are inviting her to reveal how she hides desire, forcing her to confront her own physical tells. The beauty of this lies in its subtlety. While she searches for an answer, her body will likely betray her with a fleeting smile, a shift in posture, or a touch of her hair, and you will see the truth without her saying it. You meet these reactions with composed observation, not eagerness, allowing her to feel both seen and slightly exposed in a way that excites rather than threatens. This is psychological finesse at work, making her body language part of the connection and creating a subconscious awareness that you notice more than others. Once a woman feels that you can read her without words, she will no longer be able to hide her reactions around you. And in her mind, you transform into someone who understands her on a level most men cannot reach. What is your most secret weakness? The one only someone truly special could discover. This question works like a key to her most private world, framed with the kind of exclusivity and calculated subtlety Machiavelli understood better than anyone. You are not asking about random flaws. You are positioning yourself as the rare person who could be worthy of that kind of confession. When she hesitates, the pause becomes fertile ground for tension and intrigue. If she chooses to share, you are instantly elevated in her mind to someone who can be trusted with her hidden truths. If she refuses, you still win by planting the idea that you now carry an image of a secret she keeps. Respond with calm acknowledgement, perhaps a slight smile, and a remark like, "You do not have to tell me, but now I'm already imagining it." In that moment, you make her vulnerability part of the connection without forcing it, creating an invisible thread of intimacy. This blend of respect, mystery, and psychological precision deepens your influence without her ever feeling manipulated. And once that thread is woven, it is rarely broken. What does a man do that makes you feel in danger, yet you still want him more? This question strikes directly at the paradox Machiavelli would have exploited: the magnetic pull between fear and desire. You are not asking what is good for her. You are inviting her to explore the part of herself that craves the edge, the emotional adrenaline that comes from being near someone who is unpredictable yet compelling. When she answers, she is revealing not just a preference, but an archetype, the exact behavioral pattern that bypasses her rational defenses. If she admits she is drawn to men who remain detached yet still choose her, you now know her attraction thrives on selective scarcity. By embodying elements of that energy in a controlled, non-destructive way, you subtly align yourself with her desire's blueprint. The key is to balance the illusion of danger with the reality of emotional safety, making her feel that you are capable of shaking her world without destroying it. That tension, safe yet thrilling, is what etches you permanently into her emotional memory. What is the craziest thing you would do if no one ever knew it was you? This question invites her into a space where rules dissolve, a space Machiavelli would understand as the fertile ground for influence. You are not seeking an amusing anecdote. You're giving her silent permission to explore the version of herself that exists beyond judgment and consequence. Often she will laugh, hesitate, or play coy, but the hesitation itself is where the power lies because her mind is already crafting scenarios. You do not need the answer to gain influence. You only need her to imagine it with you as the unspoken witness. By saying something like "you do not have to say," just thinking it means we already share it. You create a private, invisible bond that feels conspiratorial. This bond is not based on information, but on implication, a connection rooted in the shared knowledge of something unspoken. Once that seed is planted, her mind will revisit it in quiet moments, associating you with the rush of breaking rules and the safety of keeping them hidden. How do you behave when you start falling for someone, but you do not want to admit it? This question penetrates the precise moment where attraction turns into conflict within her mind, a point Machiavelli would see as ripe for influence because it forces her to confront the tension between desire and control. By making her describe the signs she gives when she's resisting her own feelings, you're guiding her to recall past experiences where this has happened, and if there is already a spark between you, her subconscious will begin linking that pattern to you. When she says something like "I act distant" or "I pull away," you can softly respond, "So now I know if you ever pull away, it means I'm starting to affect you." This places you inside her mental framework as the possible cause of her reactions, subtly embedding yourself into her emotional reflexes. The brilliance lies in the fact that you are not demanding a confession of attraction. You're giving her the chance to describe it in a way that lets her imagine it happening with you. From that moment forward, every time she catches herself behaving as she described, your presence will echo in her mind, deepening the connection without a single explicit declaration. What left the biggest mark on you from a man, even if he is no longer in your life. This question slips past her conscious defenses and goes straight into her emotional archives, something Machiavelli would recognize as a masterstroke of psychological positioning. You're not asking for a name or relationship history. You're asking for the essence of an unforgettable impact, the exact gesture, behavior, or presence that etched itself into her memory. When she recalls this, she relives the emotions tied to it. And because you're the one who prompted the memory, your presence becomes intertwined with the experience. If she says something like, "He made me feel like I was the only one, even in a crowded room," you've just uncovered a blueprint for the kind of emotional state that captivates her. By subtly embodying aspects of that impact, without imitating the man himself, you position yourself as the new figure capable of leaving a similar mark. The brain cannot fully distinguish between reliving an emotion and experiencing it anew. So by carefully guiding her into this recollection, you begin to inhabit the same mental and emotional space as her most unforgettable connections. Has it ever happened that someone attracts you and you do not understand why? This seemingly simple question hides one of the most powerful psychological triggers in Machiavellian seduction. By asking her this, you force her to reflect on moments of irrational attraction, times when logic failed to explain desire. The brilliance of this tactic is that while she searches her memory for examples, her subconscious may start to associate the feeling with you, especially if there is already a spark between you. The question bypasses the safe and predictable territory of surface-level conversation and goes straight to the subconscious, where desire is often born without explanation. When she begins to answer, you maintain calm eye contact, saying little but communicating everything through your presence. If she admits it has happened, you can respond with a line like, "Sometimes the inexplicable is the most real," and then allow silence to work in your favor. That silence becomes a mental echo, one she will revisit in her mind, wondering if the same thing is happening right now with you. In psychological terms, this creates cognitive dissonance, forcing her to reconcile her feelings with her beliefs. And the longer she wrestles with that dissonance, the stronger the emotional imprint you leave behind. If someone could understand you without you having to explain anything, what place would they have in your life? This question, drawn from Machiavellian principles of influence, is perhaps the most strategic of all because it bypasses reason entirely and goes straight into emotional imagery. You are not directly asking her to place you in her life, but you're making her imagine the existence of such a person, and inevitably, her mind may place you in that role. This is the art of implication, suggesting without stating, guiding without pushing. When a woman envisions being understood without judgment or explanation, she taps into one of the deepest human desires, emotional safety. Delivered with the right tone and timing, this question plants a seed that grows quietly in the background of her mind. If she replies by saying that such a person is rare, you can simply smile and say, "Maybe not as rare as you think," before letting the moment breathe. That pause lets the image linger, anchoring you to a fantasy she may revisit long after the conversation ends. Machiavelli knew that words could be used as weapons or as keys, capable of unlocking emotions others never reach. These 10 questions are not tricks or lines. They're strategies designed to bypass the logical mind and awaken the emotional core where attraction, desire, and fascination truly live. Used with precision, patience, and authenticity, they can make you unforgettable, not because you said the most, but because you made her feel the most. If you want to continue mastering the psychology of influence and seduction, subscribe to Psyvoria and join the community of thinkers, strategists, and students of human nature who refuse to settle for ordinary connection.